Jury is back. I say it's back because the first series was in 2002. And we're talking writer Peter Morgan. He's written things like Frost Nixon, the Helen Mirren film The Queen. He's no stranger to a decent script. And when I read this was coming and that Julie Walters was involved, I thought, yes, that's going to be a great piece of autumn night television. If you're honest, if I hadn't have asked you, would you have stuck this on?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Okay.
My dad had put it on record already, so it's definitely something that I would have watched.
Before we start talking about the programme itself, the idea that they've staggered this over 5 nights. Now, this could be for one of several reasons, I think. One is what I put in the review, is that they want to make it a bit more of an event. Secondly, Celebrity's just around the corner and they want to show the jury first before all that starts. So how did you feel about it being on all week?
Well, it annoys me slightly because I am actually leaving the house this evening.
It's interesting how instant TV is nowadays. Like, you can series link it and watch it the same night. You can watch it on the computer. You can watch it live. And if you miss doing any of those 3 things, the DVD for this series is out on Monday. So
wow, that's quick.
Messing about. They are not messing about. I don't know how to be constructive because I absolutely loved it.
I don't think you always have to be constructive about things. It's not necessary to always find something that you dislike about something.
I put it in the review that it just from the word go, which I don't think they said at the very beginning. You just knew it was going to be good. It just felt very grown up, very adult, very well done. It wasn't dumbed down. There was loads of well-known faces in there. You felt like you were in good hands.
Do you know what I absolutely love about things like this? I love it when they use real newscasters because it lends a real sense of reality.
Yeah, I get always excited by that. Oh,
yeah, I do.
Off the news.
Good evening. It was the case that shocked the nation, but nearly 5 years after being found guilty of murdering 3 women, Allam Lane was today back in the headlines as the Court of Appeal dramatically overturned his conviction for the killings of Holly Jackson, Anna Knight and Rebecca Chung. The case will now go back to the Old Bailey, with all 3 murders being retried, effectively starting from scratch.
The successful appeal is being seen as a personal victory for controversial barrister Emma Watts, who replaced the legal team that represented Lane at the original trial.
We're enormously encouraged by these developments. My client, Allam Lane, is innocent. The fight to clear his name goes on. Thank you.
I don't know if I was a bit over-dramatic in the review, but I was very keen to get across that I really enjoyed it. And I really like the fact that when you're in the court scenes, I found that I forgot. I was sort of transported into that world, and I forgot about all the stuff before it with the jurors. It was like a different programme. And then when we came out of the courtroom, and I was completely immersed in the jurors' lives. That's what I liked.
Yeah, I think that's... I mean, the jurors' lives are just as interesting as the trial itself, because sometimes you have the little side stories and you're not really interested in the side stories. But I love Rashid's story. We don't know what
they
condition.
Keep referring to him as having a condition, but my presumption is Asperger's or...
Asperger's, yeah, I would say Asperger's.
Or something on the autistic spectrum.
Probably the best part of it is that it raises some really interesting questions about the validity of trial by jury, and if that's not valid, then what alternative do we have other than just judges? I think that raises some really interesting questions.
I swear by Almighty God.
I swear by Allah
that I will faithfully try the defendant.
I will faithfully try the defendant.
And give a true verdict.
And give a true verdict.
According to the evidence.
According to the evidence.
You know how I feel about crime drama, but this is it done to the best it can be done.
Absolutely.
I think when you're in the court with Julie Walters and Roger Allam and they're sort of sparring between one another, which I really enjoyed, the sort of snipes and the gets at each other, as defence and prosecution, you do sort of feel as a viewer, unless I'm being completely unrealistic here, that you're sat on the jury as well, and there's no interactions other than what's going on in that between those two characters. So you're listening to them and you're agreeing with them, and then the other one comes up and you think, no, that's a good point, I agree with them. I was immersed in those courtroom scenes. I loved them.
Members of the jury, I'm sure you've all found occasion at some point, sitting in an airplane, perhaps, surfing the web, using a mobile phone, to marvel at mankind's ingenuity, his capacity to create and invent achievements that make us feel better about ourselves and celebrate somehow the human condition and the condition of being human. Equally, from time to time, I'm sure you've had occasion to despair at our infinite capacity to cock things up, bring shame upon ourselves, our disregard for the environment, our compulsion again and again to fight unnecessary and unjustifiable wars, and on a smaller scale, though no less shameful or unfortunate, when we preside over miscarriages of justice.
The pacing of it was so good. You didn't feel like you were in the court too long, and you didn't feel like you were with the jurors too long and not knowing enough about the trial. Judging solely on the opener, I love it. It's one of my favourite things of the year.
Not often that I watch one programme and think, wow, I can't wait to find out what happens, but I think there's some really great casting in there as well. I'm not sure of his real name. I know him as Jerry from Sliding Doors, but I thought he was really great character of Allan Lane. Then we've got so many more interesting storylines. The woman who seems obsessed, who's Anne, the religious lady, that raises the question, why do women find murderers attractive? We've got Ted Bundy, who had marriage proposals. And then we've got on the other side, which I learned from Appropriate Adult.
If you get a weekend and you see, if you've somehow been working or you're just not interested in TV drama, let us change your perspective. Go out and get the DVD of Appropriate Adult and The Jury and watch them over a weekend. If you don't see anything else this year, those were the two stand out. There's been a lot of good drama this year, but those are the two ones that we would highly recommend, and I don't think I'm speaking for you there. But to sum up, it really is one of the best series of the year. DVD's out Monday, the 14th of November. Go and get it. Julie Walters, absolutely fantastic, but the entire cast is great. Jury, massive thumbs up.